of that closed secretive organization to take information about the world and think about it, communicate it inside the organization, and then act. It can't think anymore. So as a sort of group or an organization, it can no longer outthink its competitors. And many of these organizations, be they political parties, be they conspiratorial groups of criminals, or be they businesses, are only just in equilibrium with their competitors. And because they're acting in a way which is often inhumane or corrupt or criminal, they have lots of opponents. So if you cause them to sort of collapse as an organization, to not be able to communicate with each other internally, to become paranoid and fall in on themselves, they are no longer competitive as an organization compared to all those organizations that are more open and are their opponents. So the power of these organizations starts to shrink, and the market gap is then taken up by the more open organizations, which don't have this problem of secrecy. So that's a really nice outcome. And the other one that's related to that is competing organizations can sometimes directly use that information. It's clear when you have competing political parties, information is leaked out by one, or where you have competing businesses, information about some business practices leaked out, or when you have competing states and information about the behavior of the intelligence organization of one is revealed to the public, but the public may not care about it, but the competing nation state may care a great deal about it.
Absolutely. There's so many issues here, and I mean, we could dig into this, but I need to ask you about personal privacy and sort of, I mean, there's the big issue of privacy within WikiLeaks and the right for people to have their personal details for themselves and all that. But there's also everything going on now with Facebook and your personal graph being all public, and these questions are somehow related. What is your view on private matters and personal digital privacy?
So important, when I'm asked this question, important place to start is looking at our publishing record, because we have a 3.5-year publishing record now. We publish an enormous amount of material, and there's no allegation that anything we have ever published has harmed someone who shouldn't have been harmed. And as people have lost their jobs, including prime ministers and defence chiefs have lost their jobs, politicians have lost their jobs, but those are people that we broadly accept should have lost their jobs. Otherwise, there's been no allegation that anyone's done harm. So, in a couple of cases, we've done a harm minimisation process. For example, the British National Party, which is a far right, literally in its origins neo-Nazi party in the UK, very controversial, interesting in some ways. It's another story. They had a secret membership list, around 13,000, together with, in some cases, why the people are secret? Because they are a member of the police force. The police force doesn't allow British National Party members because it's a whites-only party and was a whites-only party until just recently, and has a constitution along those lines. So if the police officer agrees to this constitution, then they're sort of inherently agreeing that they want to evict all non-whites by force from the UK. That means probably can't, as a police officer, fairly dispatch the law against whites and non-whites. That is the argument that's made. I'm not sure if I completely agree with that argument, but anyway, that's the argument that's made. And that is why the British National Party wanted to keep that information about its members secret, members of the police force, because if came out, they would be fired.
Right.
We wrote to, before we released the list, we wrote to them all and said we're going to release the list.
All right.
So,
13,000?
yeah.
Oh, indeed.
Take what precautions
All right.
you feel you need to.
Right.
Now, of course, we didn't not release the list. That would be a breach of our promise to our sources.
What do you mean by the...
But we took steps, not perfect steps,
Right.
of course, but reasonable steps to minimise the harm. And there was no harm other than some people losing their jobs
Okay.
that we're aware of.
But is that explicit within WikiLeaks that you will do this, or is,
Yes.
is it part of your core who you
Yes.
are? Right.
I mean, we state, provided material fits our editorial criteria, which is publicly stated what that criteria is, we will publish it. We guarantee it. We will publish it.
Right.
So our only sort of, within this clear framework that we have given ourselves and the public, the only room to move is whether we can delay publishing it a little and engage in a harm minimization process during that delay. And so that's what we do, and that has worked. Now, if there is a case that comes along later on where there's clearly going to be, not clearly, but there is a reasonable likelihood, not an unreasonable one, but a definite reasonable likelihood of some serious harm coming, and that harm minimization process doesn't work, then we will consider a different one. But so far, informing and delaying a little bit has worked. We haven't needed to do that many times.
Right. Well, this has been an amazing interview about an amazing topic, an amazing organization that is driving change, and that we will definitely follow with great interest going forward. We thank you for your work, Julian, with this organization. I have personally donated money to this organization, not much, but some. And I encourage everyone to consider doing that. It's wikileaks.org. Make sure that you go to the right site and not to someone claiming to be WikiLeaks. Wikileaks.org is the site, and you will find links there to contact them and possibly donate money to them. And thank you for this interview, Joe.
You're welcome.